Humans can't breathe on their world, but somehow, we survived there anyway. When humanity tried to colonize a toxic alien world, everyone said we would fail. The first settlers did choke and die, but the survivors refused to give up. Centuries later, when the aliens came back expecting a graveyard, what they found was something else entirely. This is the story of how humans survived the impossible. They said we couldn't breathe on their world. They weren't wrong. The air was poison, thick with alien spores and chemicals that burned our lungs and rotted our blood. When the first human colonists stepped onto that soil, they barely lasted days. Their bodies convulsed, their skin turned black, and one by one, they fell. The galaxy laughed. The locals gloated. Humanity, the upstart race, had been dealt a lesson. But they didn't understand who we are. We choke. We suffer. We fall. And then, we get back up. The settlers came in the name of expansion. A bright new world, rich in resources, orbiting twin suns. To the aliens who lived nearby, it was a cruel joke. They had seen what the atmosphere did to their enemies. They watched the first ships land. They watched the colonists plant their banners. And they watched them die. The air seared human lungs. The spores crept into flesh and bone. Entire families collapsed in agony. Within weeks, the colony was silent. The aliens spread the tale across the stars. See? Humans are weak. They cannot survive where true races thrive. And for a time, it seemed they were right. But not all perished. In the shadow of the dead colony, a handful of survivors clung to life. They were engineers, biologists, desperate parents who refused to let their children die. Their lungs bled, but they fought on. Masks and filters were bought hours ago. Days. Weeks. They studied the air. They learned which spores killed quickly and which lingered. They brewed crude serums from alien fungi. They spliced genes with fragments of the planet's own microbes. Some called it madness. Others called it desperation. But for humanity, it was survival. Years passed. The survivors began to change. Children born on that world did not gasp like their parents. Their skin carried faint patterns, symbiotic markings from the spores within their blood. They breathed shallow at first, then deeper, until the poison air was no longer poison to them. The aliens had expected silence. Instead, strange new humans walked the surface of the forbidden world, masked, scarred, but alive. And alive was enough. Generations passed. The colony that was supposed to be a graveyard became a home. The humans built cities of living stone, structures entwined with vines that filtered the toxic winds. Their children played in the open, breathing what no outsider could endure. Their skin bore luminous veins, not mutations but adaptations. Their voices carried a deeper resonance, lungs reshaped to sing in the heavy air. To them, the world was no longer hostile. It was family. They had become something new. Centuries later, the aliens returned. They came expecting ruins, skeletal remains of settlers who had choked on their arrogance. They expected silence, decay, another failed human dream. Their ships pierced the clouds, scanners probing the surface. What they found made their blood run cold. Cities. Vast, thriving cities, glowing with bioluminescence. Human banners, not rotted but renewed. Fields of crops that grew in poisoned soil, tended by hands that should never have survived. And the people. Not corpses. Not ghosts. Humans, alive, strong, their bodies bearing marks of the world they had tamed. Half alien, perhaps, but wholly human in spirit. The aliens watched them walk unmasked in the toxic air, children laughing where once men had died choking. One alien commander whispered in disbelief, "Impossible." And a human elder, his voice steady, answered, "Not impossible. Just human." They had thought the world would kill us. Instead, it made us stronger. Humanity is not defined by lungs or blood, by purity of form or safety of home. We are defined by our refusal to yield. By our ability to turn death into life, failure into strength. They thought we couldn't breathe in their world. But centuries later, we still do. And we always will.